Kevin De Bruyne is out for up to 6 weeks and Jamie Vardy is also injured. It's time to get transfer thinking. But in this weekly video, as we always do, we'll have a look back at Game Week 19, see how I got on, but most importantly, we'll look ahead to Game Week 20, my captaincy shout, and more importantly, my transfers, especially that including Kevin De Bruyne. Let's get straight into the video. So let's start off by having a look at my game week transfers. So my free transfer for game week 19, I made one free transfer. Now I'm very saddened to say that I did part with Rob Holding. I'm a big fan of him. He's got great goal threat and assist potential, if you know what I'm talking about. But in his place, I did bring Kufal of West Ham. Now Kufal brought me 12 points in the double game week with a clean sheet as well as an assist, and Holding returned a 6 point with a clean sheet, but it was that double game week for Kufal that really meant that I needed to make this transfer, and it did pay off. So happy that I made this transfer, but sad that I've had to let Rob Holding go. Although long term Kufal's fixtures are better than Holding and the attacking threat is probably higher from Kufal, so definitely happy that I made this transfer. So how did this actually impact my team ahead of game week 19? So in goal, I currently have Martinez, who scored 3 in the first game and is still to play against Newcastle on Saturday evening. 3 from him against Manchester City. It could have been so much more if that first goal hadn't been given with the offside decision against Rodrigo, but 3 with a Newcastle at home fixture. Let's see what Martinez can do. The defence was definitely my high point in game week 19, all of them getting at least one return. Robertson with a clean sheet, giving him 8 points, Kufal with a clean sheet and an assist, Cancelo with 1 clean sheet, and Chilwell with 1 clean sheet as well. All returning, nothing quite as big as the likes of John Stones that many of you may have in your teams, but definitely happy with the returns that these defenders got. Now, my midfield was very disappointing. De Bruyne, my captain, returned just 8 points, especially with that 59th minute sub before getting an extra point for a clean sheet and an extra point for playing 60 minutes. And he's also potentially injured now, so when we get to talk about my potential transfers, he's one that I'm going to have to look at transferring out. Salah with just 4 points, being benched in the second game. Not happy with that, although due to his ownership at my rank, it didn't actually impact me whether he returned or not. Son with a single game week against Sheffield United returned 5 points. Okay, happy enough with Son. We'll continue to own him and he still provides great value. And finally, Bruno Fernandes, a bit like Salah, with him not being my captain, whether he returned or not did very little for my rank either way. So just happy with 8 points from Fernandes. Now, up front, we had Watkins, who did return 2 points against Manchester City. He did have chances for both goals and assists, but didn't return anything. But like Martinez, he still has 1 game left to play in Newcastle at home. Bamford returning 2 in that 1-0 loss for Leeds against Brighton, so not particularly happy with that, especially seeing as I left Saka for 9 points on my bench. Right now, Saka in a single game week was my highest scoring player that didn't play in defence. He's actually my second highest player overall, excluding Kufal. So very annoyed that I left him on the bench, although I didn't plan on doing anything different. It never crossed my mind to start him. So what did that mean for my overall points? 75 points, which is not good for the double game week. It gave me a game week rank of 2.1 million. It moved my overall score up to 1,197, but it saw me see a very big narrow from 28k down to 62k. Now I'm 6 points outside the top 50k. Martinez and Watkins have the chance to bring it back up, so fingers crossed from returns from those two, but I am worried about the ownership of Grealish and Wilson and what they could do to my rank. It's not been a good game week, but let's move on to game week 20 and fingers crossed that it's better than game. Let's have a quick look at how I'm doing in the FPL Cup. So my team currently on 75 with 2 players to play in Watkins and Martinez. Not a very good score. However, my cup opponent is actually currently only on 70. Now he did have some good returns from the likes of Diaz in there, but he did captain Jamie Vardy, which has hindered him. So with his 1 point off the bench for McCarthy, I currently have 2 players left, whereas he only has Grealish. So it would require quite a strong return from Grealish, whilst blanks from Martinez and Watkins to see me get knocked out of the cup. So fingers crossed that I will be progressing to the next round of the FPL Cup despite not playing a single chip in Game Week 18 or Game Week 19. So I do feel fortunate to still be in the Cup. Let me know how you guys are getting on. Are you in the FPL Cup still? How are you getting on this game week? What are your plans for future game weeks? So let's now move on and have a look at my potential transfers ahead of Game Week 20. So the two players I'm potentially transferring out. The first is Chilwell. Now Chelsea do have upcoming fixtures which are quite appealing from a defensive point of view, but Chelsea's form is just not good enough. With the defensive form that the likes of Leicester are in, Man City as well, there are definitely players at a lower price than Chilwell who will be returning me equal if not more points. The other potential transfer out is Kevin De Bruyne. Now we've heard that he's likely to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, and looking at the fixture schedule, that could mean he could miss up to 6 or 7 matches. That's too much money for me to have sitting on my bench, and given his form, it's not a player that I'm actually too bothered about transferring out. There are players for much less money who could return me similar if not more points. So my current thinking in their place is potentially John Stones at 5.1 million in that Manchester City defence. He did score a couple of goals in Game Week 19. Now I'm not expecting that from him, but 5.1 million in that rock solid Manchester City defence, definitely one that's worth looking at. And Gundogan as my potential replacement for Kevin De Bruyne. He could still be on penalties as well, and he has good goal threat. We've seen him score long range shots as well as getting involved in the box. So two Man City players with their form, with their upcoming fixtures, definitely players that I'm looking at transferring in. Now, just to summarise those two transfers, that would be Chilwell and De Bruyne out for Stones and Gundogan. So I only have one free transfer and I'm unlikely to take a -4 to do these free transfers. So with the injury to De Bruyne, that's likely to be my free transfer this week, but Chilwell is one that I will be watching over the coming game weeks. So with those potential transfers in mind, let's have a look at how my Game Week 20 team will line up and the transfers I think I'll make and my captaincy shout for this game week. So my planned transfers at the moment will be Kevin De Bruyne out and Gundogan in. I just can't afford to have the money that De Bruyne is sat on my bench for 3 weeks with his injury, and the form that Gundogan is compared to De Bruyne, it doesn't feel like the 5 million investment on top of Gundogan is worth it. So a transfer that I'm happy to make to free up funds. Now I will look at potentially bringing in Harry Kane with the money in terms of one of my strikers leaving, but at the moment it is just De Bruyne to Gundogan that I plan on making. This will mean that in goal, as always, I have Martinez. For me, the best goalkeeper this season, as I've said before. A good fixture away at Burnley, so fingers crossed for a clean sheet from Martinez, as well as potentially some save points. In the defence remains unchanged, so we have Robertson, who has Tottenham away. Now, not a particularly great fixture for Liverpool. They haven't looked amazing defensively recently, but there was always that attacking threat from Robertson. Kufal, Crystal Palace away, a good fixture both from potentially a defensive and an offensive point of view for Kufal, so happy to own him. Cancelo again, clean sheet potential, but also when he plays that sort of centre mid role, which he seems to do, even when he starts the game at left back or right back, the attacking threat is there from him. He has the potential to get it, he hasn't had it yet, but fingers crossed those goals and assists do come for Cancelo. And finally we have Chilwell at home to Wolves, who haven't been amazing in front of goal. They've looked better in recent weeks, but fingers crossed for something either defensive or offensive from him. But Chilwell is one I'm looking to transfer out in the coming weeks, potentially to get double Manchester City defence into my team. Now into the midfield, the new signing Gundogan goes straight in with an away fixture against West Brom. It's a great fixture. He seems to be playing that sort of box-to-box midfield role at just 5.5 million. I think it's great value. Now Salah has Tottenham away. I'm never going to drop him. He was rested in Game Week 19 in that second match. He's probably going to play in the Cup against Manchester United, but he's not going to go anywhere from my team. Next up we have Son, who plays in the reverse of that fixture, so Liverpool at home. We know that Son scored in the reverse fixture, so when they went away to Liverpool, so fingers crossed he can do something similar. And finally we have Bruno Fernandes. So he didn't pick up a yellow card in Game Week 19, meaning he is available to play in Game Week 20. Sheffield United at home. It's a great fixture for Manchester United and they'll want to keep on with their form at the top of the table. And my front two remain unchanged. Watkins, Burnley away, and Bamford, Newcastle away. Two good fixtures, although both are away from home, you'd still expect something from at least one of these in that game week. So fingers crossed for goals from Watkins and Bamford to improve on the form that they've shown so far in Game Week 19. That means that Saka remains first on my bench with Southampton, Mitchell second and Brewster last on my bench. So in terms of captaincy, I'm planning on putting the captaincy armband on Bruno Fernandes. Now a game against Sheffield United is a good fixture. It is at home. I would have preferred it to be in away given Manchester United's away record, but Bruno's in great form. He doesn't seem to be rotated, so he is my captain. My vice captain for the first time this season is falling on a defender. I think there's great clean sheet potential for Cancelo, as well as that attacking threat for both goals and assists in game week 20. So he will be my vice captain, but the armband at the moment is on Bruno Fernandes. It probably would have been De Bruyne if he hadn't got injured because of that West Brom fixture, but I don't feel quite confident enough to put it on either Cancelo or Gundogan yet. So captaincy on Bruno, vice captaincy on Cancelo. So that's all we've got time for in this video. If you have enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Good luck in Game Week 20. If you do want to help support the channel, it's completely free. The best you can do is to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications as well. There'll be live streams in the build up to Game Week 20 and beyond. But that's all we've got time for, guys. Good luck in Game Week 20. Appreciate you watching all this way, and I will see you all next time.